whenever, wherever. This is ABC Action News Now.
Hello, I'm Dee O'Reilly, and here are your ABC Action News Now headlines. A St. Pete woman is being treated at the hospital after being injured during a home invasion. Now police say the man responsible is on the run. Officers say the woman knew her attacker. It happened around 2:30 this morning at 924 Granville Court. Police have not released a description of the suspect just yet, but they say it is still a very active investigation. And those are your ABC Action News Now headlines.
Now, news from across Florida.
Boycott Florida! Boycott Florida!
That's the cry coming from several directions in the wake of the controversial verdict out of Sanford.
No orange juice from Florida, no Disney World, we're going to shut it down.
Church leaders from California to Tennessee say the unpunished killing of Trayvon Martin shows Florida is not safe for black youth. The Facebook page for Visit Florida is covered with comments like, "Not after the guilty verdict." And at a performance in Canada last night, Stevie Wonder took Florida off his tour schedule.
And until the stand-your ground law is abolished in Florida, I will never perform there again.
Do these kinds of boycotts work?
Well, surprisingly, they do not.
Margie Manning of the Tampa Bay Business Journal cites research that shows companies targeted by boycotts often see an increase in sales. The campaign against Chick-fil-A for its CEO's opposition to same-sex marriage created what the company called a record-setting day. And when teachers boycotted Florida orange juice for the industry's sponsorship of Rush Limbaugh's show, sales went up an estimated 40%.
There is usually an opposite reaction from consumers who support the company or the cause that's being boycotted. They called it a boycott.
As for whole states, the NAACP has boycotted South Carolina for flying the Confederate flag on their Capitol dome.
Hardaway reloads it.
And since 2001, the NCAA will not hold any of its postseason basketball tournaments in South Carolina because of the flag.
Now, news from Hillsborough County.
It's a terrible neighborhood. It needs to be cleaned up.
For 8 months, a notice to vacate stuck to windows.
They should never let it run down this way.
No one lives inside the homes anymore. Easy to see through all the broken glass.
Doing what they want to in there.
Vern and Mary Smith rarely leave their property now. Drugs and crime and filth across the street, they call the results of a slumlord. Code enforcement shut down Green Park residences after we alerted them last year to raw sewage, no heat or air conditioning, rotted walls, and gaping holes offering little protection for children who live there.
How you doing?
Neighbors finally celebrated the end until...
Well, it's at a standstill now, and I've just about gave up hope.
As code enforcement started tearing down the first home, they stopped. The city tells us the landlord appealed the demolition. They claim they can't do anything until negotiations end.
Yeah, I think it's worse. It's all run down. There's no upkeep to it.
Vacant now for half a year. Neighbors say criminals use the homes for prostitution and drugs. Green Park's drawn code officers since the early 90s, 2 decades of violations that somehow continue even after its closing.
This is where your property value is. This is where we get taxes from. You clean this stuff up, and your property value goes up.
Code enforcement would not comment pending negotiations, but while they talk, Vern and Mary watch as vandals break in, steal, and sell drugs just feet from the home where they raised 5 children.
But now, I wouldn't raise a family here. Never.
Now, news from Pinellas County.
The St. Petersburg Pier is a quiet place these days, but this group from Missouri came today expecting to find the pier they have visited in years past. The sign announcing the building closure took them by surprise.
I was hoping that sign wasn't real.
Now, the fencing that surrounds the main building may be coming down under a new plan that would allow access to the back of the pier.
We're not going to reopen any aspect of the building, so anything that is vertical coming out of the pier head, we're not going to reopen that.
Keeping the closed-off city landmark from becoming a white elephant, the 828 Alliance, created by Mayor Bill Foster, has suggested possibly adding a bait store, light concessions, and restrooms.
I think it'd be nice if it was back like it was, but no, I think that would it's still something to look at, and it's still really neat, and it wouldn't be so empty and sad looking and closed.
The 828 Alliance is made up of both sides of the controversial lens design. A vote to move forward with the design or go in a different direction will be decided on August 27th. The idea is to keep both sides at the table, regardless of the election outcome. And by keeping the iconic pier open, if even on a limited basis, is good news for locals and tourists alike. This group is visiting from Holland and have only the fenced-off version of the pier as their first impression.
Of course, we don't know what the pier is normally, so we think it's great to have at least something on the pier. Better than having nothing on a pier.
No date has been given on when the fence may come down. In St. Pete, Brad Davis, ABC Action News.
I'm meteorologist Shay Ryan with an update on our beach and boating forecast. We've got 86 degrees now off of Clearwater Beach, and what we're looking at is a moderate chop on bay and inland waters with seas at about 2 to 3 feet. So not a bad boating day. You do want to be aware there will be a good chance for some afternoon and evening showers and storms especially, so use caution and common sense there. Otherwise, the sun sets tonight at 8:28, and we'll have a high today in Tampa of 90 degrees, a mix of sun, clouds, and those afternoon showers and storms developing inland around 2-3 o'clock. And then headed to the coastline through the latter portion of the afternoon and into the evening. For tomorrow, we've got more numerous showers and storms, especially offshore, and then we will continue to have a highs near 90 degrees. But as we head into the weekend, we'll start to see that summertime pattern returning.
Now, your live look at Titan Doppler radar.
It was really scary when it came through. I mean, the skies just turned this awful color, and then the power went out. We had no TV, no computer. We couldn't tell what was happening. But thank goodness my storm shield alert went off on my phone. I mean, you know, that warning came through just in time. If it hadn't, I can't imagine what might have happened to my family. I think it actually saved our lives.
Download the ABC Action News Storm Shield app at stormshieldapp.com. ABC Action News Now. Anytime, anywhere.
Hello, I'm Dee O'Reilly, and here are your ABC Action News Now headlines. A shooting in St. Pete sent a woman to the hospital. The accused gunman is dead, and St. Pete police say they were forced to shoot him. St. Pete police responded to a call around 8:40 Tuesday night of shots fired on 30th Avenue at the Dover Apartments. When they got there, they found 21-year-old Elisa Dudley shot multiple times. She was rushed to a hospital suffering from what police are saying are life-threatening injuries. They got a tip later that the shooter may be Dudley's ex-boyfriend. They tracked down 19-year-old Carlos Crompton. When they confronted him, police say he grabbed a gun. They returned fire, killing him. And those are your ABC Action News Now headlines.
Can I call you Sam?
The first thing you notice about 6-year-old Samantha is...
I don't care. Sam is just shorter for Samantha.
If given the chance, there is nothing in the world that will stop this beautiful little girl. But this little girl who tested gifted was not gifted with the best of health.
She was going limp in my arms, and I had no way of knowing if she would be here today.
Since the age of 6 months, Samantha has had idiopathic anaphylaxis, in that she is so allergic to food, her body starts to shut down, and she can die if not given an EpiPen shot.
My mom has to take one and hold it down in my leg for 10 seconds.
What's it like? Does it hurt? Do you cry?
Yes.
Which means things that other kids can do, she can't, including...
go to school, play with friends, go to friends' houses, go to birthdays.
But there is hope. this service dog named Angel.
She would show you where the allergen is. She would prevent her from going into a room. She would prevent her from sitting at that table and having that reaction where it could kill her.
But the training for Angel costs money, $20,000. It would allow Sam to be
like a normal kid.
So how can you help? Donate, and it's tax deductible.
And as you can see, Samantha has taken over the show. Good work by you. You need some help. You need the money by when?
September.
September. And then if you get it by September, what happens?
I get Angel.
Angel, and where can you go?
To school.
It's not a bad thing. John Thomas, ABC Action News. Say Samantha.
Samantha.
ABC Action News.
ABC Action News.
Perfect. High five.
Now, news from Polk County.
We have them.
Lieutenant Al Wilson, the highest-ranking Lakeland police officer linked to a recent sex scandal still on the force, has announced his retirement. As the I-Team reported last week, Wilson is currently under investigation after LPD civilian employee Sue Eberly claimed he inappropriately touched and propositioned her. In a taped interview with investigators, Eberly described one of those encounters.
Did you want him to grab your butt?
No, it was definitely uncalled for.
Did you want to touch his?
No.
Did you have any attraction to this man?
No.
Did you want any sexual contact with him?
No.
Did it occur to you at the time to report it?
I didn't. I felt that I couldn't because he was protected by others.
Wilson admitted to sexual contact with Eberly.
Sue came into my office, and she rubbed up against me and everything, and I touched Sue.
Where did you touch her?
I touched her in her private parts.
Where specifically?
Over her clothing, between her legs.
On her?
Yes.
The I-Team discovered Lieutenant Wilson was nearly fired in 2008.
Your chain of command has recommended you be terminated from employment as a police officer with the city of Lakeland.
Wilson and his wife, Sergeant Felicia Wilson, who resigned yesterday, were accused then of unlawfully accessing a department computer to give themselves undeserved overtime assignments. As we reported last week, Lieutenant Al Wilson's disciplinary history was more than 1,800 pages long as a result of 6 internal affairs investigations during the past 7 years.
Now, taking action for your health.
Walking and running are great ways to stay fit, but did you know that with every step, you could be doing more harm than good?
Everybody's going to have a little bit different of a stride, different gait.
And the shoes need to be different, too. According to the folks over at Fit to Run in Tampa, if you're not paired with the right pair, you could be looking at some long-term damage. So how do you make the right choice? They say a gait analysis is the way to go.
How they're striking down on the treadmill, we look for neutrality, overpronation, or supination, and based off of what we see from the gait analysis, we recommend what type of shoe would actually work out for them.
Supination meaning your foot turns out when you walk or run. Pronation is when the foot turns in, with some in between. All of which can be analyzed by first stepping on the pressure sensing technology to see what parts of your foot take the brunt of your movements. Then the treadmill cam shows how you run or walk, helping you understand which shoes are right for you. Sims says spending cash on the right shoes will help you save money in the long run, but you don't have to take her word for it.
This is the ankle.
Dr. Roy Sanders, orthopedic surgeon with Florida Orthopedic Institute, agrees.
Sometimes over long periods of time, if you don't correct the problem using the right shoe, then you end up with knee and ankle arthritis, and then you'd actually need surgery.
I'm meteorologist Shay Ryan with an update on our tropical forecast. Everything is quiet in the Gulf, the Caribbean, and the Atlantic again today, so we're not expecting any tropical development here over the next 24 to 48 hours, so we won't have any disruptions to our summertime pattern from the tropics anyhow. 90 degrees is a high today. We're going to have a mix of sun, clouds, and afternoon showers and storms that fire up in the interior and then make their way to the coastline. Now, tomorrow and Friday, we are going to have a little bit of additional moisture coming from an area of low pressure just to the south of us, and that's going to allow for more numerous showers and storms starting a little earlier in the day, both on Thursday and Friday, and then continuing into the evening. But by the time we get into the weekend, we're back to a regular summertime pattern.
Now, your live look at Titan Doppler radar.
for 3 weeks just to get one person to talk to us on the phone.
Did you change anything you were doing?
So we just want to get your side of the story.
We get results for you.
The I-Team is on it.
After our story aired, state attorney's office issued an arrest warrant.
You guys got one of the bad ones.
Good that you all came out.
I'm just glad you're doing this. Tonight, the I-Team is taking action for you.
It's been the most amazing turnaround I have ever seen.
The Bay Area's largest team of investigators, the I-Team. Only on ABC Action News. Whenever, wherever. This is ABC Action News Now.